Only the Bulls, only the Bulls, only the one and only Chicago
Doom
Bulls.
doom ba doom doom ba doom 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 ba doom 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 ba doom ba boom ba doom 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 ba.
Who can set the court on fire?
Hello, boys and girls,
Only
and welcome back
the
to
Bulls
another
keep us
exciting
burning
episode
with
of Running with the Bulls
desire.
podcast. Adam and
Only
Josh
the
at it again. We're
Bulls
talking draft
bring
recap. We're
another
talking some
title
breaking
here.
news. Josh, you could say it.
They'll make 'em jump up
Breaking
and
balls,
cheer.
breaking bad, breaking good. What are your thoughts on the trade? Lonzo for Okoro just went down.
I mean, I think this will hinder on the Bulls re-signing Trey Jones to some degree. Do I think it's a bad trade? I can't really say it's a bad. Listen, I'm going to complain about any trade the Bulls make because I just don't think their front office is a very well-run front office. So, but this just goes to show, and again, another trade with no draft pick compensation kind of frustrates me. But is Lonzo Ball really worth a first-round pick like they were discussing last year at the trade deadline? No.
I mean, like we talked because, like you were saying, like if they would have gotten Marcus Smart, they would have gotten the pick. But that they're only attaching the first round pick, a late first round pick, mind you, for to take on this bad contract. Why would
Yeah,
you?
so I'm not really upset about it. Lonzo, if he's healthy, is going to be okay, but he most likely is not going to be able to play in back-to-backs. I mean, it's very questionable. You're taking a big risk if you're Cleveland, banking on Lonzo being fully healthy until Garland gets back. And then the Bulls get Isaac Okoro, who, will get a fresh start here, but he's a role player. It's a role player for a role player swap, and that's fine. The Bulls get another wing that they need, and I'm not really mad at it. Can you re-sign Trey Jones and have a backup point guard? Because if you don't, that most likely that means Io will be backup point guard, which is fine. Io's a good backup point guard. I'm not mad at that. But if I had to choose, I would rather have Trey Jones still on the team, which would help. But overall, I think Lonzo gets a new fit. I'm glad he's going to get a starting opportunity in Cleveland. Isaac Okoro gets a fresh start here. And I was seeing everyone going like, this guy can't shoot. Yes, he can shoot. He's a very fine. He's not like,
They're
you're not going to shoot. No one, and
35%.
everyone can shoot like Steph Curry. I'm sorry. You're
Yeah.
not going to shoot 40% from three. Most guys are not going to do that. But he can shoot about 37% from three. I think last year he shot 36% from three. And 36% is a very respectable shooting percentage.
Think about like kind of the Bulls' needs. They need a 3 and D guy more. I think you hit the nail on the head when you said the Trey Jones thing. I agree with that because like if you bring back Trey, I'd rather a Trey than Lonzo. Lonzo, I love him. I wish it was a different story. Like I wish it was a situation where his time with the Bulls was as good as it could have been, but he played 35 games last year.
He's played 70 games in 4 years.
Exactly. He's played 70 games in 4 years. And so like he played 35 games in 2021, zero games, and then 35 games. Like, yeah, I really like him when he's on the floor, but he's never on the floor. Just take him. I guess, like when I saw the trade, I was mad at first. I'm like, golly, I really like Lonzo Ball. I don't know about this Okoro guy, and I know who Okoro is, but I've never like had a reason to really dive into his numbers and make a big assessment on his value. Because he's just always been kind of a role player in Cleveland since he entered the league. He's only 24. He's not been in the league that long. But you get a little younger. The contracts are within a couple $1 million of each other. Coro still has a couple years left on his deal. But the Bulls really did need a 3 and D wing guy. And Trey Jones was better than Lonzo last year when they were on the floor. Trey Jones is also way more available than Lonzo. And so I agree with my evaluation of this trade is going to depend on whether or not they bring back Trey Jones, because the Bulls traded for their new Lonzo Ball and they got Josh Giddey. They got their big transition controlling, rebounding point guard who's an elite passer. That's exactly why they went and got Giddey. They reset the clock on the kind of team they're trying to build. And so, yeah, Levine and DeRozan are out. Still have Vucevic. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit later, but you can see it's different players, but it's a very similar blueprint. And so I feel like when it made Lonzo a little bit more expendable, and I don't have an issue with the Bulls finally just cutting bait on what's been an extremely disappointing 4 years, because this guy might be one of the biggest what ifs in history. I remember a college professor I had talking about Lonzo when he was at UCLA, comparing him to Magic Johnson. And those were the comps this guy was getting. You know, when he was at UCLA, there were people talking about maybe he's the first pick in the draft. There was a ton of hype surrounding this guy, and this is now his fourth stop of his career. And hey, good for you, man. Like, you might be able to win a championship or get to a finals, and I'm always going to root for the guy. But his time with the Bulls, it's just riddled with disappointment, and the fact that he was the most important part of that team that was in first place all those years ago. When we talk about Lonzo Ball's legacy, it's him not being on the floor.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it broke the Bulls. And so
Yeah.
much of the conversation we've had in the venting and the frustration we've had all stems from the fact that the identity of this team was compromised beyond repair when he went down with that initial injury. It changed the trajectory substantially. You were not able to do the DeRozan at the 4 in a way that could work. It was a lot of DeRozan at the 4. Sometimes they would, work other guys, but the Bulls were playing a brand of basketball that they started to play with more pace again this year, but like, it was working. They were in first place. We've told the story over and over again, but you need that catalyst. You saw what the Bulls did with Giddey. We're going to talk about some of the draft stuff, and I'm interested to see about some of the other guys coming in. But yeah, dude, I hate to say it so bluntly, because I really like him as a player, and I like him in interviews, and I love watching him play. I'm still a fan of Lonzo Ball, but enough's enough. He's wasted enough of our time as Bulls fans. I hate to say it that way, but that's how I have come around to feel about it after the initial shock of the trade.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. It was kind of a waste of time, and him getting traded doesn't really shock me. I think he was going to get traded in February at least, regardless. I mean, the Bulls didn't need. I would guess the Bulls are going to probably keep Trey Jones now. Definitely, they're going to make that a priority, because let's face it, Javon Carter is not a point guard; he's a shooting guard, so that doesn't really help. Like I said, they could move Ayo Dosunmu back to the backup point guard role. That would be fine. I wouldn't have any problem with that. So there's a lot of things still up in the air, and we'll see where it goes. As for grades, I'll give it a B minus. I mean, a C plus. There's not really. They're not getting that. It's not like you're getting a role player back that's all of a sudden going to drop 20 a game or something. Isaac Okoro is what he is at this point. He might get a little bit better, but he is what he is. He's a role player. He's a good 3-and-D guy, and that's what you're going to get. So it's fine what they did with that trade. I'm okay with it.
I think a B minus C plus is a fair assessment. Pretty comparable 3-point shooters. Okoro, much better field goal percentage on his career, I want to say. I'm gonna double check. I got the head-to-head stats pulled up, and Okoro 49%, 47%, excuse me, to golly. I mean, Lonzo, he had a horrible shooting season. You called him out on it.
I did.
And rightfully
He
so.
only shot threes basically the whole year.
He shot 36% this last year. Like, I saw such a wide variety, as you always do when the Bulls make a trade. Half the people say the sky is falling. The others are saying that the Bulls fleeced the Cavs. It feels like a fair trade. Disappointing. Yeah, I'm with you. B minus, C plus. Any other thoughts before we get into some Bulls draft reactions?
We just gotta let the dust settle and see what happens going
Yep.
forward. That's all.
Yep. I concur. Okay, so let's go back to draft night. My TV goes out right as the Bulls are up to pick, and I am having
Oh,
a
so bad for
temper.
you.
Nothing like an adult temper tantrum, not full blown. I'm not throwing my toys, but I am, you know, pacing around the living room, freaking out. It was a mess, man. So I that was my reaction, not knowing who the hell they took, and then oh, they got the French kid. But it seemed like you were a little upset, at least at first. So tell us about your initial reaction, and then how has that changed since you had kind of done your homework?
I mean, I think the kid he's like sushi. He's raw. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, it's fine if you want to go this route. You went this route before and it failed miserably with Patrick Williams. Miserably. The guy stinks. You want to do this again? Come on. Come on, guys. We've been down this road already. We did this dance. We did the lambada once. And Patrick Williams ended up with two broken ankles when he tried to do it.
It's a little funny to consider. I don't know if we brought this up before, but like that's the Tyrese Halliburton draft, right? The
Yes,
Patrick Williams one.
he
And like,
begged the Bulls. He told the Bulls, "This is where I want to go." He begged the Bulls to
yeah.
draft him. They said
And,
no.
and, and Gar Forman, like his whole Bulls career was about trying to squeeze in Iowa State people. You
This would
know,
have been the one draft where it would have been
the
acceptable.
one where it's like, no, not, like obviously he
It
wasn't
would have been
responsible.
okay to take the guy from
Yeah,
Iowa
yeah,
State.
yeah. Like, I mean, the only two Iowa State guys
Isn't it
I can
funny that
think of, it's like,
it's just funny. He has this obsession with Iowa State, and the one
yeah,
time where it should work out, Gar Forman's not the GM.
yeah, yeah. And he's
He
gone,
would
and
have
they
taken
take,
Halliburton. I'm sure he would have.
oh, he would have been, and like, can you imagine if it's like Halliburton instead of Lonzo?
Oh my
Jeez.
God. That team might go to the Eastern Conference Finals.
I mean, golly, yeah, that team we'd have a way different conversation right now. But woulda, shoulda, coulda, and we'd all be rich, right? So
For
what do
folks
you
wondering, by the way, I just took a sip of this is not alcohol, it's Mexican Coke. Don't worry.
Mexican Coke, and it's also invisible on the Zoom call. I have
Not
this
totally.
this is straight vodka, folks. No, this is water. I'm drinking water.
Very nice glass, though.
Thank you. It's invisible. I got it from the Harry Potter world.
Oh, Harry, it's the invisibility cloak.
um, but no, I think this is a good time to let people know. Hey, we're on YouTube again. So if you're wondering what the cups look like or what we look like, we're built for radio, not TV, folks. But you can see on YouTube. Um,
God, in
but,
both of us. Ouch.
oh man! But I'll tell you what. So Essen Gay, they grab him, and he was one of the guys I had read the Bulls were interested in. And so I did some research on him. I got like so enthralled with Derek Queen that I wound up reading a lot more up on him. That's the guy I wanted the Bulls to get.
I did. I wanted Derek Queen.
Did you see Colin Murray Boyle's reaction to get drafted by?
That was hilarious.
Oh my gosh. That's like.
You want to talk about not wanting to go somewhere. But to be fair, Steph Curry had a very similar reaction when he got drafted by Golden State. Ace Bailey wasn't happy to go to Utah. We've seen guys not be happy with where they're going or appear not to be happy, and it turns out fine.
Yeah, and it is going to be interesting.
Also, I don't know why you wouldn't want to go to Toronto. Toronto's a beautiful city.
I was thinking about that too, and I wonder if he's concerned that
maybe taxes. I don't know.
No. For me, I think he's worried he's not going to get minutes.
I don't know. I mean, this is a young team. He'll get minutes. I would not worry.
Scotty Barnes. I mean, he'll get his minutes, but he's.
If you put RJ Barrett at the 2, and you got Grady Dick too. I see what you kind of mean. It's going to be tough for him to get some minutes. He might not get starter minutes. He's going to have to play his way into the starting role.
He's definitely not getting starter minutes off the front end. Colin Murray Boyle's, of course, supposed to be one of the better defenders in the draft, but Yeah, I think he's a little buried. Like they have Brandon Ingram, RJ Barrett, and Scotty Barnes, and they all are kind of like, I mean, RJ and Ingram, I guess, play a little bit more of that shooting guard role at times, but Barnes and Ingram both capable of playing some power forward. Barnes is the starting power forward. So I think he's like, oh, I'm going to be stuck under. I'll be Scotty Barnes' backup. But it's also interesting to look at a guy like Murray Boyles. And even though the Raptors have Pirtle down there, I could see them running Colin Murray Boyles at some center and kind of getting out and running. But they're building something really interesting. I think that he could come around and be like, all right, this isn't that bad. But we'll see. We'll see. But then he's off the board. So Esenge, I like the pick. I like the pick. I think that I'm concerned as you are with the all right, we got another project, but the ceiling in the fit is very appealing to me. Like this guy, the comp is like Pascal Siakam, but it seems like if he's able to develop, he could be like a steal of the draft kind of guy. Like he's very raw, didn't play basketball till he was 12, but he's got some kind of like what pick did Giannis go? 12th?
I think 15. I think 15.
Fact check me, Joshy boy. Fact check me on that while I continue
I
my
think went fifth. Giannis was the 15th pick in the draft.
15th?
He was 15th. Yes.
Jeez. Well, so like kind of later first round, but this guy's supposed to be exceptional in transition. He's very long, very athletic, pretty good defender already, and has the ability to finish around the rim. He's moved super well for a big man, and so that's where I feel like we talked about the Bulls' need for that power forward, can play a little bit of center, but they're Siakam who can make that impact defensively, but also slash and make some things happen. The fact that he's 18, I think that's interesting too, because the Bulls are very young. This guy could be, like the Bulls first round pick next year in a different universe with how young he is, so you get more time. I think the Windy City Bulls are going to have actually really important role of developing this guy. And I think that if you look at what the Bulls did with Matas Buzelis, that they're going to take a similar route with him, make sure he's ready. I think we don't really see a big impact from this guy for maybe, golly, I mean, it's got to be at least 3 years. The guy's only 18 years old. So there's a level of patience, but like long term.
Was 19 and he was a huge impact on the Bulls the second half of the season. So you don't know. Here's
but at the beginning of the season, he wasn't even on the team.
No, he wasn't.
And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like he's going to spend a lot of time.
If by January he's playing 10, 15 minutes a game, I'd say that's progress.
Yeah, totally. And by the end of the year, he was actually one of the better rookies in the NBA. It was just he was too late to get any like legitimate accolades on that. But no, I think that as far as it goes with Esenge, he'll play, but much like Matas Buzelis, I don't expect to see much of him till January or February, and I think he's more raw potentially than Matas came in, and he was pretty raw too. But I think the Bulls took this guy on potential to be, hey, this guy could be a perfect fit and a guy who could like legitimately be a really important core piece on a team that could be competing 5 years from now. but they want to build him. They want to build him. They need to turn him into Pascal Siakam. But Siakam, another guy who started playing basketball late, had to kind of earn his stripes, spent a lot of time in the G League. And so I'm hoping that he can be that piece. Now, if they go Patrick Queen, I see that guy as more of a kind of like Nikola Vucevic. He didn't have the 3-point shot to.
Queen. Who's Patrick Queen?
Oh, sorry. Patrick Queen's a linebacker. I want to say the Steelers or the Ravens.
Yeah. I was like, where are you going?
Yeah, my bad. My Queens again. Queen Elizabeth, Patrick Queen,
Hey,
Lightning
Joey
McQueen,
Mason.
Bowls and Six. Yeah.
But no, I mean, I'm interested to see what the pick can do. Here's my main concern. The Bulls had a very good shooting coach. They just fired the shooting coach. So this guy can't shoot. So you're having another shooting coach who maybe the players aren't going to be as trustworthy of compared to the last shooting coach, taking over the reins for this guy. The Bulls are not known for their player development.
It's been hit or miss.
Major hit or miss. And I think that's a big concern. Like, if Patrick Williams got drafted 4th by the Miami Heat, I think Patrick Williams would still be scoring 15 points a game. I think part of it is because he went to the Chicago Bulls. He wasn't developed like he is. Like, I think the guy that Miami drafted from Illinois is going to be a beast. He'll be like a Gordon Dragic type, because he's such a good.
Well, he's a pretty big boy too, isn't he? Like 6'6".
Yeah, I saw him play. I watched every Illinois game because I'm a huge Illinois fan, and he can play. He's got a good he can shot create pretty well, and he's already got that in his game. So just put him on Miami, and oh my goodness, I mean, to me, Miami's still the best in terms of player development in the NBA. I would argue they're at least top 5. So, the Bulls very hit or miss in their player development department and their ability to develop players. So we'll see what this kid can do. I'm going to give it an incomplete, the draft grade, because you just don't know. This kid could be 2 years away from being 2 years away. We just don't know. If, he's 3 days older than Cooper Flagg, I believe. 3 days older. That's pretty young. But Cooper Flagg came in and almost won a national championship and was by far the best player, running away with it in the NCAA last year and going into this draft. And so, I just think, we're going to see what this kid can do. He'll get some good opportunities to rim run, but I don't think he's going to get a ton of playing time his first year. Second year will be more important than his first year. First year, I think, will be more of a wash.
On screen with you, and if you're watching on YouTube, I believe you'll be able to watch this as well. This is his shot chart. The miracles of video. We can get into some of this stuff. Are you able to see this right now?
No, yeah. Is it Noah Essengay?
Yeah. So it's interesting. All right, and this is from the Euro Cup 24-25. Okay, so straight away 3-point shooter. It looks like that's one of his good spots. Looks like this guy could. I mean, he's 18, right? But I'm looking, and it's like I'm seeing hope here. Like one corner's not good, the other corner's really good, but it looks like in theory he could be a 3-level scorer. He says he's really good around the rim. The numbers back that up. Now scroll down to kind of look at his 3-point specifically, 50% dead center. All right, now this is a very small sample size, but it'll be interesting. I feel like there's hope to develop him into a good enough shooter, but like that's where I see the weird, like, because when I say Giannis, I don't think he's going to be Giannis. He turns out to be Giannis. Hey, we're all having a parade because we got Andre Karolinko.
I will shut up for the rest of my life about our terror.
Yeah, but like even
I'll be GM and
like just
still.
I just see like just develop into a good player. Like if he turned into Siakam, I'd be thrilled. Yeah, just. And we'll be patient. We'll be patient.
Like, because the Bulls have in the last 4 years have had 2 bad misses in the first round. Let's be real. Dalen Terry stinks. Can we agree on that? Dalen Terry's not a good basketball player.
He's
In
had his
terms of NBA
moments.
talent.
He's had his moments, but yeah, he's not doing anything.
Like, is Dalen Terry going to get a big second contract in the NBA?
No, he might not be in the league in 5
I
years.
don't think he's going to be in the league in 5 years. No. Is Patrick Williams going to be in the league after his contract is up? Probably not.
I think he will. I think that I understand your rage against Patrick Williams and how you've taken it personally that he was the 4th overall pick. Here's the deal.
I took that personally.
Let me ask you. Let me ask you. Let's say Patrick Williams was drafted 18th, okay?
Then he'd be fine.
Then he'd be fine. It's
You
not
got
Patrick
picked
Williams'
fourth.
fault he got picked 4th, but you're right. He got picked 4th, and that's what makes it so frustrating. Because like, I don't think he's like a bad player, but he's a bad player for getting picked ahead of Tyrese Halliburton.
He had $90 million to score 8 points a game.
Yeah, yeah, and we'll see. I think that the Bulls are going to try to flip him, but it's like they've been trying to flip him. They keep trying to flip these guys, and it's tough because like.
Here's a good question. Which would be a more fun job? Patrick Williams right now or being Brett Favre's backup? Because then you don't have to work a day and you get paid $1 million a year and you don't have to do a thing.
I feel like no pressure at all. Brett Favre's backup.
I'd rather have be Brett Favre's backup.
You just hold the clipboard for 10 years.
Hold the clipboard to get paid $1 million.
Yeah. You know, that reminds me. Jim McMahon recently made a visit to the area.
Well, yeah, you talked about that.
Yeah. And I was teasing my friend who's a Packers fan. He's like, oh, no, he's a Bear. I won't go to that autograph signing. I was like, he won a Super Bowl with the Packers, Bobby. Come on.
You know what he did in 96, right? When he went to the White House. You know what he did, right?
He wore the Bears jersey.
God bless him for that.
Yeah. There's a picture. And it's got Bill Clinton, Brett Favre, and Jim McMahon all in the same picture. And that's a good picture.
It's Bill Clinton, Jim McMahon, and who?
And Brett Favre.
Oh, God, that's a trio.
That's a trio. I'd like to go hang out with those guys and just see what happens. You know, they're just a fly in the wall. You know, that's a ragtag bunch of like you could make a buddy comedy off the premise of like those guys. that's a weird group of dudes. But anyway, yeah, I like the pick. The kid's raw. We'll see. Very athletic. Could be a nice future there. The second round, I'm interested because the
all right
unhinged optimist in me is like, hey, maybe this kid can be Brad Miller someday. You know, maybe a limited athlete, but like seems to be pretty good, like savvy passer. Some people really think this was a steal. He does. Because I saw like a Bleacher Report article compared him to Domantas Sabonis, and I think that that's all well and good. And they mentioned that like very similar frame when Sabonis came out. He plays power forward center, 6'10", 230, 21 years old. And like Sabonis, you know, so 29% shooter. Sabonis had to really like work on his 3-point shot. And even then he's not like a green light shooter. He shot a better percentage. He also didn't shoot a ton this year.
Yeah, he shoots like 1.5, 2 threes a game. Sabonis, he's not like a volume shooter from 3.
Yeah, but you know, physical rebounder, could be like a high IQ player, but he seems to be a fit for what the Bulls want in their center. You know, it like here's the Bleacher Report. I'm going to read off here a little bit. Ulbrich is a polished and coordinated, and he has strong footwork, balance, and body control in the paint. He finishes through contact with pivots, clever footwork, and physical yet crafty bumps. He is elite. Hands also, excuse me, my thing went away there. Okay, going back to it. Elite hands. Okay. Clever footwork, flow into short roll moves or soft push shots. A lot of what we just broke down above and the bonus comparison comes down to this category. Ulbrich plays with discipline and makes smart reads. He often delivers dribble high dribble kickouts and cross court passes, and he's one of those players who always seems to be in the right spot. Okay, so they're describing a lot of these things, and um, golly, there's this guy that Konashovis drafted when he was in Denver. I can't remember his name, but he was
Stop,
this big,
stop going.
clunky.
Stop. I'm stopping you right now. Stop. Stop.
You know where I was going with
Lay
it.
off the song. Lay off the song.
Oh, come on, let yourself dream. We're gonna be so sad all winter. Just let yourself. just pretend he's gonna be the next Nikola Jokic.
We're already depressed because you're in Siberia, okay, with the weather there, and I'm in Chicago where it's cold. It's cold, but it's not cold like where you are. But we got a team.
Lachlan Olbrich is going to be the next Nikola Jokic. There's nothing crazy about that, right? He's going to be the next Jokic.
If this turns into the greatest draft in the history of Chicago sports, I'll shut up.
Yeah,
but it's not like the 65. The best draft in history is still the 65 Bears. That, and good luck picking better than that.
Sayers and Butkus.
Yeah, Sayers and Butkus. Yep, back to back.
So here's my read. Bulls draft. The floor for Asenge is Patrick Williams 2.0. Okay. Now the floor for Ulbrich. What's this guy's name? Lachlan Ulbrich. All right. Cameron Barstow. Okay. So that's the worst case scenario.
That's a great name drop right there.
We got another like useless Australian guy. We've only had, but hey, we got a couple Australians. They're probably friends.
He wasn't bad, but he wasn't going to be good enough to play.
That was pretty bad. He was pretty bad. Let's be honest. He had good hair. It was bad at basketball. Cool hair though. Good for him. Yeah, so worst case scenario, we're looking at like no, let's do better than the Patrick Williams. Like, who would be a bad version of like? Is he supposed to be
Thon Maker? I don't know.
No, because he's not like, but just like, yeah, maybe like
Thon Maker stinks.
Yeah, worst case scenario. Like, I think this guy's at least going to be good at Noah Asenge. Like, I think he's at least going to be good. It might take a little bit of time, but like, I don't know what. Maybe we're looking at like Al-Farouq Aminu, But
Al-Farouq Aminu is a really solid role player. If he turned into a solid role player, I'd be okay with that. With the 12th pick, if you could be a solid 3-and-D,
sure.
Develop a three-pointer and be a good rim runner and be a multi-level defender, I'm fine with that. That's okay.
Yeah. Whatever, Al-Farouq Aminu, maybe a ceiling of like Pascal Siakam, and the other guy, Cameron Barstow, maybe realistically ceiling of like a Brad Miller. But now in my Looney Tunes land, we probably just drafted the next Giannis and the next Jokic, and then Josh Giddey's going to win MVP in a few years. Kobe White's going to extend. He's going to drop 40 a game. Dude, this is the beginning of a dynasty. Come on. How do you not see this? All right, folks. We got a little bit of time left.
I think we should make it quick. Do we think the Bulls are going to make any moves for the rest of the offseason? I would say no. I'd be surprised. I think they'll make a move in February, but I don't think they're going to make one right now. I think they'll make a free agent signing or two. They'll re-sign Giddey and they'll sign Trey Jones, and I think that's what they're going to go into the season with. I feel bad for Vucevic. Can I just say that? I feel so bad for Vucevic. Being in trade rumors.
I could see Vucevic getting traded like September 18th or something.
Maybe.
Like I could see
a training camp injury, definitely.
Well, like I feel like, we'll go through free agency. Like Vucevic is a guy I feel like certain teams, he's not at the top of their list, but he's on their list.
Let's say like a center goes down during the season. Someone will call the Bulls about Vooch.
Well, even like if somebody, let's take the Lakers, for example, if they completely whiff on getting a starting center, because right now, like they have no bigs, they're not getting Mark Williams, who's obviously now on the Suns, but Vucevic, he's a massive upgrade for a team like that. But the Lakers are going to try to get somebody else first. And like the Bulls haven't been very good at like making trades in general. So they're going to, but if they strike out, I think there's going to be like a secondary market on Vucevic. You know what I mean? Like after these teams strike out, they're going to go kick the tires. Okay, what do you want for him? You know what I mean?
Right. I agree. So we'll see what happens.
I feel like Kobe, I don't want him to get moved, and I don't think he will get moved.
But here's the thing. This is my logic behind it. Are you really going to pay your backcourt $65 million a year between the two of them? 30 for Kobe, 30 for Giddey, probably 30, 35 for Kobe White. And you're already in the first apron. There's no way you're going to the second apron with a 35-win team. So are they going to move him? Probably. He's arguably on the best contract in the NBA besides Jalen Brunson
right now. It's unbelievable. His contract's unbelievable. I mean, I just feel like I want to at least see, like, if you move Kobe, get a haul back for him in February, and I'm
very concerned the Bulls are not going to be able to get a haul back for him because the front office has not shown that they can get a haul.
Well, he would have to agree to like sign to wherever he got traded for. But yes. I just look at like the potential for the Bulls to have a very fun, actually pretty good young backcourt next season with Giddey and Kobe being able to truly take the reins. And they were the two best players down the stretch last season, and they both looked really good at times. And so I want to at least see what we have in that duo before I'm ready to move on from Kobe White. Now, that being said, if a team made a Godfather offer or it was a situation with like RJ Barrett, I'm willing to listen. But I think that the Bulls would be more likely to make a maybe some smaller moves. But I don't think that they are going to do anything imminently, and I think Vucevic is more likely to be moved than Kobe because I think they're more likely to get their asking price, which shouldn't be that high. And I think the Bulls are in a position where they could part with Vucevic and be okay. Zach Collins, Jalen Smith.
So we'll see what happens.
Closing thoughts, my friend?
I just want to see Noah sing. I just want to see him do well. Let's not overreact to the Lonzo Ball trade. I overreacted when they first drafted it.
You were so mad.
But I cooled off. Let's just see what happens.
See what happens. That's all we can do.
And in the front office, we want patience.
Yeah. We've been patient. That's Patrick Ecstatic on the tunes. Thank you for listening, everybody. For enjoying the show, give us a like, give us a follow, tell a friend, tell a friend. We'll see you next time. Go Bulls!
Only the one and only Chicago Bulls. Who can fly through the air? Who can get them off their feet? Who can always snatch a victory from the jaws of defeat? Who can play the toughest defense, shattering the score, get Chicago up and rocking, crying out for more? Only the Bulls, only the Bulls, Chicago Bulls. Only the one and only Chicago Bulls. Chicago Bulls. Yeah. Chicago Bulls. Chicago Bulls. Chicago Bulls.